It is Friday, the 11th October. Good morning. This is Mervin Henley with THG News Today, right here on THG Network's channel. The news, of course, as you know it, is powered by Carl & Son's unique bakery on the island of St. Maarten, with 3 locations on the island at the St. Maarten Medical Center, on the Punfill, and in Colbay. Now, if this is your first time joining us here on the network's channel, we always ask each day, Monday to Friday, we ask you, and we're not going to stop asking you, to please subscribe to our channel so that you do not miss any news, information, weather, updates, whatever it is, right here on the network's channel, whether around you or in the diaspora. Let's begin this morning with news out of Guyana. The president of Guyana, yesterday, he said that each household in the country is to receive a one-time payment of $200,000. That's, of course, Guyanese dollars. And I did the calculation. It's about $960 US. The payment, he said, will be instantaneously. He was addressing a special sitting of Parliament. This allocation will cost the government of Guyana $60 billion. And again, I did the calculations. That's just about $287 million US, if I'm not mistaken. Now, the president also announced that no public servant will earn less than $100,000 per month. This will cost a further $1 billion. He spoke about his Vision 2030 plan and derided the former government for not delivering on its promises. President Ali also addressed reforms to the public procurement system and the Guyana Revenue Authority. He further lauded his government's legislative amendments to the Natural Resource Fund. So that is something great for the government and people of Guyana. I know that 10, 15 years ago, and this is no disrespect to the territory of Guyana, but of course, there were a lot of poverty. And now to see where Guyana is today, and especially oil, lots of it. I'm telling you, it's an oil-rich nation now. We move on to news out of St. Kitts and Nevis. Prime Minister, the Honorable Terrance shared his position on the Alexandra Hospital expansion project during his October 8th roundtable engagement with the press. This is according to WinFM report. WinFM posed a question on the bread and butter topic to the Prime Minister, questioning whether he visited or intends to visit the hospital expansion site and what he would do as Prime Minister to ensure that the building is complete. In his response, the Prime Minister explained that he respects the boundaries between the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, the government, and the Nevis Island administration. On the hospital expansion, he said, "I have no direct knowledge of it. It is a program that was being administered on the Nevis end, and so based on our arrangement, the Nevis Island administration can pursue its agenda, and it's pursuing its agenda, and so forth. So that matter with the hospital, I have not intervened in it. I respect where the boundary is between federal and local." Construction on the Alexandra Hospital expansion project, according to WinFM, began 7 years ago, but work was halted for over 2 years. The outer walls of the structure were painted, but the situation within the inner structure remains baffling. What WinFM forgot to mention as well in this article, that the outer walls of the structure were painted just before an election to give an impression that the hospital was near completion. At least that wing was near completion. Let's continue. It was disclosed that the project had difficulties and a quantity survey was needed, but the findings were not disclosed. The media and individuals within the general public, according to WinFM, have repeatedly demanded answers about the hospital expansion project, but information has been difficult to gain. I don't know what is so difficult for the government of the Nevis Island administration to just come out and say, you know what, guys, the people of Nevis, we royally screwed up. Yes, we know that we have spent $30 million of your money thus far on a never-ending project, but we will not continue to mislead you for another 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And here is the situation as it is. Why can't they just become honest with the people of Nevis and let the Nevisians and residents know that they screwed up on this project? I mean, I remember the St. Jude Hospital with similar issues. That's the St. Jude Hospital in St. Lucia. No accountability, wastage. Well, I wouldn't even say wastage. The monies were just flowing and going somewhere, but not to the hospital. And what did the people of St. Lucia, what did they do? They got rid of that government. And here it is on the island of Nevis. There is a hospital ongoing wing that's going on now for 8 years, 9 years, and no end in sight. And now we're hearing that we have to wait until 2025 kicks in for the government to make this their full focus. I mean, enough of the BS. Just be direct with the people. And perhaps they will respect you more. And then you say, ignore the noise. Only NRP, the opposition, only the opposition is speaking about the hospital project and all the noise. But let me remind the people, let me remind CCM and its leader that you're saying ignore the noise. But I must remind you that in the last election, most of that noise, the folks that you're saying to ignore, half of Nevis voted for those people. They're almost the majority of the electorate. So you want to just ignore the noise. I mean, this is just crazy. And it is heartbreaking that excuse after excuse every month, lie after lie every month, coming from the Premier and the CCM administration. I don't understand it. But you're not going to finish the hospital. But here you are talking about an airport project. And I have no problem and no opposition in the expansion of the Van Seymer International Airport because it needs some work and it needs to be expanded. But not with the CCM. They have absolutely no vision because that will stay there incomplete as well. But in the same breath, I have no problem with an expansion. So why couldn't you negotiate with the Honorable Prime Minister? And why couldn't you sit with the Prime Minister and say to the Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, you know, we have this issue, this situation with the hospital. And the hospital we should make priority. So yes, we want the airport to have the expansion. So what about one broad package? Whatever it is, let's put the hospital and the airport. Can we do something? We have messed up in the past. Yes, we have wasted $600 and something million in the past. We have done all this, but we want to make it right. We want the hospital to be priority, but we also want our airport. What can we do? How can you help us in putting these projects together? I mean, as much as I don't want them to put their hands on another project, but for the interest and the benefit of the people of Nevis, healthcare, we have to get that done. But every month, every day, some excuse. And then you're going to say, ignore the noise. Yeah? We'll see what happens on the next election and who will ignore who. Now let's continue. The British Virgin Islands opposition leader, Honorable Ronnie Skelton, has raised concerns about the source of funding for the government's sponsorship of the upcoming Vybz Kartel concert scheduled for March 2025. The event, organized by YOLO Promotions, is set to feature the Jamaican dancehall artists in the British Virgin Islands for the very first time, and this is according to 284 News. Skelton's comments follow the recent announcement of the concert and the disapproval expressed by two government ministers regarding the use of taxpayer funds to support the event. Deputy Premier Honorable Lorna Smith and Minister for Communication and Works Honorable Kai Reimer have both voiced their opposition to the government's financial involvement in the show. In an interview with ZBVI Radio on Tuesday, October 8th, Skelton questioned the source of the rumored $250,000 sponsorship, particularly in light of the government's recent financial mismanagement, according to the report. He referenced the oversight of more than $13 million, which occurred following the implementation of the new salary structure for public servants and other government-funded projects he believes have not yielded results. Skelton added that with the territory already facing serious financial challenges, the use of public money for entertainment sponsorships is questionable. He expressed his frustration with the Premier's priorities, especially amid current economic uncertainties and unresolved issues facing the Virgin Islands. The debate over government sponsorship of the Vybz Kartel concert continues to stir controversy as residents and officials alike weigh in on the proper use of taxpayer money in the Virgin Islands. And finally, in our news this morning out of Phillipsburg, St. Maarten, businesses in the country that continue to impose a purchase limit on consumers who use their debit or credit cards for payments can be blacklisted, have their machines taken away, and not receive a machine from any bank in the country. This is according to Finance Minister Marinka Gumbs, who had raised the issue in the past, made this clear during the live Council of Ministers press briefing on Wednesday. According to Ms. Gumbs, I have been informed that some vendors are still imposing a minimum limit, and I would like to urge them to stop this practice immediately. As a consequence for this illegal practice, two things can and will be done. The merchant's machine can be taken away and they can be blacklisted, which will not allow them to acquire a machine at any other bank, Gumbs told reporters in her opening remarks. She reminded that on Wednesday, July 24th, during that press conference, she expressed her concern about vendors enforcing a minimum amount for card transactions and also passing on their bank charges to the consumers. She raised the issue with the central bank and they requested that they address it with the St. Maarten Bankers Association. According to the finance minister, I am pleased to see that the St. Maarten Bankers Association, in collaboration with all banks on St. Maarten, has issued a press release on this matter in September. September, and it continues to raise awareness in letting the consumers know their rights, as some businesses are taking advantage of the consumers. The association made clear in its notification that merchants are not allowed to enforce a minimum purchase limit for accepting debit or credit card payments. Customers have the right to use their cards for any transaction amount up to their available balance. Gumbs again encouraged customers to report any violations, which she said she has been seen on social media platforms lately. Violations can be reported to, and it gives the email address to St. Maarten Bankers Association at gmail.com. That's St. Maarten, S-I-N-T, Maarten Bankers Association at gmail.com. And yeah, I've experienced that on St. Maarten. You go to certain places and they'll tell you, oh, we can't take a card for that amount. Or you go to a store and then they'll say to you, oh, because you have a US card or whatever the case may be, we have to add a $2 fee or whatever it is. And I'm like, really? There's got to be some kind of illegality to this. But I'm glad that this has been fully addressed head on by the government of St. Maarten, in particular the Minister of Finance, Marinka Gumbs. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we've just concluded THG News for today, Friday. It's been a pleasure to be in your company this week. Do join me again on Monday morning, God's willing, for a similar presentation. Monday is a holiday, federal holiday in the United States of America, but guess what? I'll be here with you on Monday morning still. That's how much I care for you, that you get the news, right? Right here on THG Networks channel. Remember, if you have not subscribed, please do so. The news, of course, this morning was powered by Carl & Sons Unique Bakery on the island of St. Maarten. Have yourselves a blessed and wonderful weekend. I am Mervin Henley. Carl & Sons have been serving the people of St. Maarten for over 40 years. And the food and service get better and better. From early morning, customers flock to the bakery for their favorite sandwiches, cakes, pastries, you name it. First thing at mornings and last thing at afternoons, folks rush to Carl & Sons for simply the best. There are two locations, Colbay and on the Punfill. In Colbay, the opening hours are Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Saturdays, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. And on Sundays, 6:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. and 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Opening hours on the Punfill, Monday to Friday, 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, 6:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. We also cater for weddings, parties, special events, whatever the occasion. It's Carl & Sons. Our staff, we are always happy to serve you. Call us today, the Colbay location, 721-544-2462. That's 721-544-2462. Or in Phillipsburg, 721-543-1059. That's 721-543-1059. It's Carl & Sons Bakery. We are here to serve you. Nevis, satisfy your sweet tooth at Feaser's, the cozy spot in Charlestown, known for its mouth-watering ice cream and dal parade. We are open Monday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come in and sample our patties, sandwiches, air-fried wings with fries, hot dogs, rotis, and now our famous smoothies, in all flavors of course. And don't forget to try the famous bus-up shut and saltfish. It's Feaser's, located at the entrance to the Cotton Ginnery Mall in Charlestown, Nevis. They are also available by phone, so place your order by calling 1-869-665-2458. Don't ask about the rest, just try the best.